Hi everyone, it's Denise, and I'm here to share with you a walkthrough of my Week in the Life 2023 album. I just finished this album. I did document during the documenting week in April, and then life kind of got busy, and for some reason I could not motivate myself to work on this project. And I couldn't figure out why, because I've done it. This is my third year only, but I've enjoyed it the past 2 years. I just couldn't get started. And after sitting down and kind of doing a little bit of thinking, I realized it was because I had chosen to use the 10 by 8 album. I've definitely used 10 by 8 albums in the past. I have one going right now where I just kind of put different spreads and different stories into it of all different sizes. I've used it for December Daily for 2 years in a row. I think the first year it was the regular ringed album, and then last year I used the buildable album. But that size just did not lend itself well to this project for me. And once I realized that, it was smooth sailing from that point. This is a Citrus Twist album, the first one that I've ever used, and I'm thrilled because I love it. I love it. Don't know what took me so long to find one of these. I've seen people use them, but this is definitely something I will be using again in the future. Okay, so once I made those decisions, I had to go through and figure out what embellishments I was going to use from the main kit. I had purchased some add-ons as well from the shop. And again, it was a matter of what am I going to use versus what am I going to leave behind? And of course, I know that a lot of us have those issues where there's just so much that we want to use. And that decision could be a little daunting as well. Finally did figure that all out, and I'll show you here how I came to figure out a formula for each particular day. So here is my intro page. Just like Allie, I used the plastic sunshine. I believe hers swings up, but mine is adhered to the page, and I just in the middle put week in the life and the dates with a little star. So that was the difference between what she did. I love getting ideas from other people. I just think it's great that we can all share with each other and encourage and inspire each other. On the back side, I did a reason why. Just basically in Photoshop Elements, I created a circle, filled it in with the color of my choice, and just typed up my reason. So that is filling the back side of the sunshine. Each day begins with a transparency. And so obviously I had to cut these down because they were for the 10 by 8 album. I basically kind of figured out, what part of the transparency do I want to use. They did have holes punched in them, but that was okay because I can go ahead and use, a later part of the transparency by just cutting it and repunching the holes. So I tried to find one that at least kind of showed one of the words that has the day of the week on it. The big chipboard number. And then here you can see I did stamp on there. It says Everyday Life. I used, I think, the Ali Edwards Cascade ink. I was originally going to go ahead and try to emboss that. I didn't, so it's a little bit light, but I was okay with it. Another thing I want to point out here is that I used the plastic circles from the kit. There were ones that had one side was like a white and the other side was a color. And on those circles, on the colored half, I used Stays On ink, and I had a Week in the Life stamp set from a past year, and I stamped the abbreviation for the day of the week, and then I stamped the date. So all I did was just cut them down to half circles and staple that onto the transparency. I didn't put anything on the back of the transparency. I let that go. Then here you're going to see that I did use the digital templates that the Ali Edwards website provided. I believe Lisa creates those. I did modify them. So obviously they had 6 by 8 and they had 10 by 8, and I had to modify to fit into this album. But that's okay. It was fun. I like to piddle around in Photoshop Elements and change things up. So this, I believe, had 6 pieces of the pie. I reduced it to 3. And then I think there were 6 little blurbs, and I reduced that to 4. So 1 each corresponding to the pieces of the pie, and then 1 for this photo. Love doing that. That was the first I guess the first page in each day of the week. On the back side of that, I have a full page photo. Again, I put the white border around my photos. It is just something that I enjoy doing. And then on that, I put one of the plastic circles with this, I staple them on there. Some days have the 3x4 photo pocket, and then other days you'll see have the, I believe it's the Instax sized photo pockets from Citrus Twist. So today it's just a simple 3x4, did not do any embellishing here. And then on the back side, I used the awesome, and I love these, I wish I had a million of them, these awesome pie chart plastic pieces. And with Stays On ink, I found in my stash different circular elements that I could stamp on, and then I placed that right in the middle. I did use the 10x8 cards. Obviously, once again, I had to trim them down. That wasn't really difficult. I ended up cutting them right after the gold foil line here. And then I didn't cut off this top end here because I wanted the gold foil border to go all the way around, but I ended up cutting this here and then removing about 2 inches or so, and then typing this and printing it out from Photoshop Elements. Little tiny itty bitty Today's Story stamp at the top there. So that was kind of fun to do. And I typed my words just basically, you know, this is what my day was. This is how things happened on that particular day. Turning over to fill the back side, obviously the 4x6 cards with the ing words, they were only 6 inches. So I had a remaining 2 inches here that I had to fill. I originally thought I was going to go through my stash and find some phrase 3x4 or 4x6 journal cards that I would go ahead and trim down. But that didn't end up working out. So I took the 4x4 cards that were in the kit and I trimmed them down a little bit off of each side so that it was kind of centered. And I filled the rest of the space with that card. The chipboard tag that has the letter for the day of the week. And I stamped the date, so to speak, in the white space. In the circle, I also ended up going into my stash and pulling out some colorful brads. So I filled that hole. And then underneath, I just found sentiments from previous week in the life kits or day in the life kits from the past. And I stamped a phrase underneath there. That was kind of fun to do. I enjoy this size a lot. I had a great time. Last year, I did a 4x4 size, which was super fun. That's this size right here. My album was super chunky. This one, you can tell, is super chunky as well. But that's just, you know, par for the course with me. This is the little craft pocket, and I did not embellish the front sides of these because I like having the day of the week just kind of viewing right there. Inside, every one of these pockets inside has thankful thoughts. So each day I thought of something that I was thankful for, and that's what got typed on here. I left the backs blank. Obviously, I was already chunked up enough, and I didn't feel the need to add anything additional to there. On the back side, I used another plastic circle. This one says Monday, and I just kind of filled the back side with that. Then we have another full page photo, chipboard tags here, or labels, I should say. I stamped on top of those, and then I used one of the puffy stars on top of that. And then last but not least, my ephemera pages. And yeah, they're not all filled in. Every one of them has something, but not all of them are filled in. I do have a bunch of ephemera sitting in a little wooden box that I have to like snip up and then adhere on. So I will do that. These are the pieces that Allie had provided with the day of the week and then the word ephemera. So just collecting little bits and pieces there. So that is Monday. Then moving on to Tuesday, again, I stamped on the chipboard number. There's my little tag sticking out. I love how those stick out. I'm not sure if you could really see them here. I just think it's awesome to separate. I love separating the days of the week. Flipping that over, I used the phone template from the release this year. Love it. Had so much fun. I'm totally planning on doing a, maybe a 6x8 spread in one of my stories coming up this summer. Just adding stuff into these phones. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And so this just has pieces. Some of them are phone screenshots, some of them are photos, but filling those in was a whole bunch of fun. Again, this was 6x8, and all I basically did for this one was I used the 6x8 template, knowing that over here, whatever I put in these phones, in these spaces, was going to get cut off. Not a big deal. Backside is another full page photo with the plastic circle. Here's those Instax. I'm sure you guys know about those. Again, I feel like I am really late to this party. I've seen them. I've just never questioned, what are they? Where did they come from? And then I found some at Citrus Twist and I went, that is awesome. Love these little photos. I just think it is just so fun. And I have to tell you that I have not really been a major pocket page scrapper lately, but this album itself and this album and these little page protectors, it's really pulling me toward wanting to use pocket pages more often. And if you've been following along with me, you know that I'm doing my monthly journaling and a monthly roundup in a traveler's notebook, and I'm enjoying that process immensely. But I'm thinking ahead of time for 2024 that instead of the traveler's notebooks, I might go with this Life Crafted album and kind of switch it up a bit. So this was very inspiring products here. On the back side, another plastic circle with some stamping with Stays On ink. And then I filled the ones that could be filled with a chipboard from my stash. There's my 10x8 card cut down to, no, not 10x8 card. I'm sorry. There's my 4x8 card, and that is cut down from the 4x10 or 10x4. Again, here is the ing card with my tag and 2 inches of the 4x4 cards. Pocket again, leaving this go again like the Tuesday, and inside my thankful thoughts. That was a fun thing to do. I typed on these cards, and then after the fact I found thankful thought, which I had in my stash. I think it was from I want to say maybe the tough story stamp said thankful thought. So I just kind of repeated that over and over again. On the back side, today, full page photo, chipboard, and star. And if you have been on Allie's blog, and I think it was from Jill had done a post showing her album for Week in the Life. And she was talking about, the chunkiness and the distribution of items. So from her, I walked away with the, taking these and not putting them all in the same place. So there'd be a little bit more balance in, how the album looks. So you notice the Monday card was at the top, and then the Tuesday card's at the bottom. And then you'll see Wednesday top, Thursday bottom. So that kind of gave a little bit more of an equal distribution there. Ephemera page, 1 space empty. I will fill that in. Day 3, this is Wednesday. Some stamping, my little tab. Digital template. This actually is a modification of a Week in the Life template from a couple years ago. It was very similar. I mean, it was the same template. It is the template. They had numbers in the middle of each of these photos. I removed those numbers and added my own on the corners. And then there was a word art here. I think it said today's gratitudes or gratitudes. I just put most days, and then I put some journaling down the side. So again, if you work in any type of photo editing software or software that you can do digital scrapbooking, these templates are so customizable. You can customize them and change them up, and that's exactly what I did. Another full page photo, again, following my formula. Here's the 3x4 pockets. I don't know how people who take hundreds of pictures do it. I honestly don't. As you can see, my album is like totally full. And I believe when I looked in the folder that I had all of my photos stored in, I had 99 photos. So, and I don't consider myself to be somebody who is continually taking photos all day long. But, you know, having multiple of these would have just made me have to go to 2 albums. So I was happy with just having this, you know, in each formula for the day, having one of these pockets. Another plastic piece with some stamping and chipboard. My Wednesday stories card. Ing words. And again, same process, just on repeat. Here we are with my thankful thoughts for today. Again, some days I have 2, some days I have 3, 4, 1. It's just whatever journaling I had managed to capture during that documenting week. Plastic circle, full page photo. Again, loving this whole repetition thing. I had considered this year not doing repetition and just going with the flow. But, you know, like Ali said, I think she referred to this project as a monster. I call it a beast. I mean, this is, I would think that December daily would seem to be more work than this. But I don't know. There's something about this. I can't pinpoint it. I'm sure it's been talked about before. It's a lot of work. And so I just figured, having what I have is good enough. It doesn't have to be every single thing in this project. And repetition makes everything easier. Again, here we go with the chipboard 4. And this is another template. I don't think, this might have been from this year. I think it was. There was something else here. I went ahead and put 3 photos. I changed the word art here from something that was in my digital files. Full page photo. Loved how this came out, and I loved putting that circle on top of one of the K-cups. Just, again, it asked for something to be there. I remember December Daily a couple years ago, I did a page about baking cookies, and right on one of the cookies, I put the number of the day, and it just, I don't know, little things just make me happy like that. You'll notice at the front side of all of these pocket pages, I do not have embellished. I could have, but I do, and sometimes fall into the trap of over-embellishing, and I just didn't want to do that. So I picked the embellishments that spoke to me, right? I do have die cuts. I do have, other pieces of chipboard, but again, this is what was speaking to me. Same thing on this side. I have plastic circle, Thursday stories, ing. And I also believe this idea here was from Jill when she did her walkthrough on Allie's blog. She had used, I'm not sure if she did it every day, but she had used the little chipboard tags there and put the dates. So that I thought was fun. Thursday. Again, 2 things that say thankful thoughts. That is, those are the thoughts I had. I did make some errors. If you've watched any of my videos before for processes, you will see I'm all about making mistakes. It's just something that happens. And one of the things that I regret after I put everything together was this is kind of bare down here because I put the chipboard up here. So in hindsight, I probably would have moved this little cluster, these 2 pieces down here. I could always go ahead and move this down there, but again, not perfect. It's not perfect. And I don't think that there's a single person who will look at this album that will not cross their mind. So not worried about that. Today is the day is what I stamped on there. Ephemera, 3 open spots. Well, actually, I put this in every one of them. So technically speaking, I had 5 spaces for ephemera. And speaking of this ephemera page, I remember when everything went on sale, when the physical products went on sale, and I remember I was at school, and I originally wanted to just do the bundle, right? I wanted to just buy that bundle and say, okay, whatever I use, whatever I don't will go into my stash. That didn't work out. It looks like the bundles sold out super quick. And the craft ephemera pages sold out super quick as well. I was disappointed. I wanted those pages. I fell in love with them. It was one of my top items. But here I bring you back to everything happens for a reason. I ended up getting the digital version of these pages, and once I decided to go to this smaller size album, that was perfect, because I would not have been able to use those physical pages because of the way the boxes were set up on the page. So with the digital version, I was able to go in and I was able to select different boxes, move them around, and put them onto a page that fit inside of my album. So again, yeah, hindsight, you know, at the time I was so super disappointed, and then it turned out that it was a blessing in disguise. Next is the transparency for 5 and my plastic tab. This is another template from this week. Again, it was probably 6 by 8. And I just went ahead and resized everything to fit into this album. I'm not sure. I want to say off the top of my head that it's 8 this way. And I don't know. Let me see what I resized them to. I'm sure you guys who have been using Citrus Twist albums know this already. But I guess if I'm going to start using these albums, I need to know this. So this is a little less than 5 1/4. So basically, I knew exactly what dimensions to crop these to after I fiddled with them in Photoshop Elements. Full page photo, the Instack pictures. This is a funny story here. We went over to a friend's house and she had these 3 little bowls, and in it there was like maybe pretzels in one, peanuts in another, and then the last one was like pickles or something. And she said, okay, made a little treat for you guys, you know, 2 pretzels, a couple peanuts, and a couple pickles. She said, okay, so now start from over here and go ahead and have your little snack before we get started with the evening. And as we ate the snacks, we started with the first bowl, and underneath it said you've. And then we went to the second bowl and it said bin. And then the third bowl, after we ate the last of the items inside, said poisoned. And we got such a super kick out of that. My friend here, Candy, she is one of the most clever individuals I know. When it comes to hosting get-togethers and parties, she comes up with the most fun things ever. And that was totally fun. That was just a sidebar there. Okay, back side, plastic piece, Friday Stories card, again, ing, and how I used the 4x4 cards. Here's my thankful thought for this day, and it's just one story, right? One thing. It was, again, it's what I jotted down during the documented week, and it's what went on this card inside of this pocket. Love these pockets. Love them, love them, love them. Just super fun. They've shown up a couple times in some of the different kits that Allie has released. Plastic piece and a chipboard. Another situation here where you can't see the chipboard from here, but again, this is just how it turned out. And I wanted this neon sign here to be showing, so I did not want this up there. And so that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Perfectly imperfect. Ephemera for Friday. This was actually a part of the drink menu from an evening out, and so I had the menu. It was like one of those long, skinny menus. It kind of killed me to cut it up, but I knew I would not use it otherwise. I knew that wasn't going to happen. My original intention was to, just punch holes in it and put it in an album, but, and it probably would have fit really well onto one of the 10 by 8, the bottom parts or the top parts where they have it divided into 4 by 10, I think it is. But again, it is what it is. Saturday, I reused the phone template. I love it. It was fun. And for the types of pictures I had for this day, it was perfect. So all I did was, after I modified this template to fit in this size, I had saved it from the other day, and I just switched out the pictures. That was it. Full page photo. Couple couple photos from what my niece was doing. They were down in Disney that week, and they were sending and updating me. So I, of course, added them in. It's not, I mean, this album is my story, but again, adding stories of what my people are doing into the album is definitely something I like to do. Years ago, it was easier when Ryan was younger because I would, he would be here with me and I would be, saying, dude, get me a picture every day. And he did. This year, not so much. As an adult, he is not a fan of taking a picture every day. So I think in the beginning of the album, I have one photo from him and that's it. But that's okay because this is all about me and my life. There's my pocket, plastic. Love going through my stash and finding little tiny chipboard pieces that kind of go along with my stories for that day. It's just fun. It's fun to use the products for this particular kit and then also, dig through and see what can I use from the past. Saturday Stories card and my words. Ing, again, here's my Saturday pocket. Let's see what kind of gratitudes I have for there. I don't even remember. I worked on this album so quickly. Can't get that out there. Ugh, it seems to be a little stuck. Did I staple it in there? That's not entirely impossible, but no, I didn't. So, oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, here's my thought for the day. Didn't do much on this day. My thought was today I'm just grateful for ibuprofen and water and Netflix and rest and cats who want to rest right along with me. So that was it, right? And empty space. No big deal. Again, I have lightened up a lot when it comes to perfection. That would have bothered me years ago. Oh my gosh, I have to fill that. I have to make the text really big so that, there's no white space, there's no emptiness. Those days are behind me. I like that I am becoming more flexible because I am a super structured person. And so that part of me is starting to show itself and I'm enjoying it. Again, full page photo. And there weren't a lot of photos from that day because I'll be honest with you, I didn't get off the couch much, but I still managed, to fill, my formula for the day. I had a lot of screenshots here because I was on the couch. I was on my phone. I was putzing, listening to podcasts. I was watching Netflix. I was scanning Instagram. And so, I talked on the phone. So I used a screenshot of that. There's always a story, and it's funny because my life as an empty nester, there are times when I question, what am I going to tell a story about that anybody's going to care about? And then it hits me because, again, this is about me. It's not what anybody cares about. It's what I care about. And so I care about a lot of things. And maybe it'll be something as simple as a screenshot of all my photos and how I'm organizing them on my phone. But this is a story and this is an album that's going to, it's a snapshot of my life at this moment. And this is my life. So this is where we're at. All right, moving forward, let's go past Saturday and get to Sunday. Again, you could see how chunky it's getting here. Don't care. Still love it. I'm fine with that. Couple spaces here left to be filled in. My transparency. Again, you could see here I tried to use that Cascade ink. I don't want to say it was an epic fail because I can see it and that's all that really matters. But in hindsight, it probably would have done the, the embossing with some white embossing powder. Okay, we live and we learn, right? Did the pie chart again. So I had to repeat the phone template and the pie chart template. And this time I left the 6 pieces in there instead of changing it to 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this one I didn't modify as much as the first one. Full page photo. There's my little George. If you've been on my Instagram at all over the past year, he's my street cat. Or I should say highway cat, that I found in the middle of the highway on a foggy summer morning in August. 3x4 photos, and then plastic piece. This is a little fabric piece that I found that fit perfectly in there. Again, who knows how many years I've had that in my stash, but I'm finally getting around to using it somewhere. Sunday stories, and then ing. And the little chipboard piece. Here is my little Sunday pocket, and I had a bunch of thoughts. These were all just random things that popped into my head as I was, journaling my day back in the documenting week. And plastic piece, full page photo, and last but not least, my Sunday ephemera. I ended up putting this circle on the back cover, on the inside back cover of my album. This was just such a wonderful project that, again, I've enjoyed it in the past, but this year was just so immensely enjoyable for me. And I just went hard, go big or go home. This week, I just doubled down and I just worked on this project. Honestly, there was one day where I was at my desk for probably 17 hours, from like 5 a.m. until like 10 p.m. Of course, I got up and I lived a little, but I just kept coming back and sitting down and working, and I was having such a good time. I couldn't pull myself away from it, and so I needed to kind of end this project with a little blurb here of my thoughts and feelings. So here's what it says, and I'll read it to you. I did it. I completed my Week in the Life album for 2023. Allie describes this as a monster project. So true. These words on her blog totally resonated with me. This project is a labor of love, from the documenting to the printing to the embellishing. Let it take its time in coming together. Amen to that. It took me a while to feel the time was right, and that was okay with me. Looking through it now, it was so totally worth it. 41 hours plus 99 photos plus 3,314 words equals priceless. So I just, again, don't always end my albums with something, but this time I had to say that. And I want to be able to look back on that and, bring back the memory of working on this album, right? So the album itself is memories of my life during that week. But it was soul feeding to work on this album. And I also wanted to have my thoughts on that process as well. So, that's about it. Flipping back, if you have any questions or if there's anything you want to know more about, please feel free to let me know. If you follow me on Instagram at all, that is like the best place to message me, simply because I spend a little bit more time on Instagram than I do on YouTube. But I do try to get to any YouTube comments as quickly as I can. I have to be honest, since I'm pretty much a newbie to this YouTube thing, I forget. And I don't have it set up to tell me about notifications, which I probably should fix. But again, if you're on Instagram and you have questions or there's anything you want to know, please feel free to reach out. I love to share. All of this is just one big process for me, from the documenting, whether it's Week in the Life, December daily, 6x8 pages, whatever it is I'm doing, it's the process of creating. And it has also now, for me, with this new YouTube channel, become the process of sharing and recording. And I'm enjoying it so much. And if people give me feedback and, it's just, that's icing on the cake. But definitely love when people ask me questions, especially if it's one that I can answer, because then I feel like I have a purpose, right? I'm a teacher by trade. So, teaching 14-year-olds, you don't get a lot of questions. They all sit there, you ask them if there's any questions, and there's silence. And so I love the feedback when people say, hey, what font is that? Or how did you do this? Or how did you do that? So if that happens and you need anything, again, Instagram, you can reach out to me on there or here on YouTube. So there is my finished album, and I did make myself a little spine here. I used some digital things from Week in the Life to add that in there. Love this album. thrilled, beyond thrilled to be able to be finished and to have shared it with you. Thanks for following along. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video.